Welcome to the Hawkins Observer, a podcast where two half-lifelong friends recap every episode of Stranger Things in preparation for the final season.
If you don't have the time or desire to sit down and rewatch all 34 episodes, but would rather just have a recap, that's why we're here.
So watch and listen on YouTube or listen on any podcast platform, and we'll share every plot as well as our thoughts behind why we love this show so much.
So here goes episode 2, The Weirdo on Maple Street. Love it. That song's a banger. Shout out to Nate for orchestrating that song too. I don't know.
Well, it is pales in comparison to the sound design and the song that the Duffer Brothers had for that show. I mean, it can't touch it.
That's all right. It's something is the highest form of flattery. I can't remember what that quote is, but it's
not copyright infringement. I can tell you that.
No, it is not. But it is properly inspired by the show's theme song.
Yeah, well, and I've told you this, but I'll let our audience in on it. I've been sitting on that song for years, probably 3 years, and I did not make it at all related to Stranger Things. I made it had it in my back pocket in case I ever had a podcast.
Love it. It's a keeper. All right, on to 102, The Weirdo on Maple Street.
Yep, which came out. I mean, we all probably watched it. 10 seconds after. We probably even skipped the next episode loading thing on Netflix when this came out. We just couldn't wait to see what was going to happen next.
Absolutely. I wish I could remember exactly how many episodes we watched that first viewing, that versus sitting, but I'm sure it was.
I don't remember how many episodes we watched, but my wife can tell you how late we stayed up.
And how loud the soundbar was.
We had like a 6-week-old baby. And I was like, yeah, this is the right time to stay up until 3 a.m. and watch a new show.
Absolutely. Yeah. What if we had a baby crying while we're still awake? It's cool. It's fine. 102 starts right where 101 left off. It's still raining outside. It's the same night.
They pulled this creature, this girl they found, this boy, whoever it is, they found in the woods, into the basement of Mike's house.
So now they're all trying to ask her questions, and she's clearly scared and cold. And Mike, being the nice guy he is, he's like, here's some dry clothes. Like, let's get her comfortable. So they give her some dry clothes, and she does something very strange.
She does something that Dustin never gets over.
No, he doesn't.
He can't get past what 11 or what this girl does next.
Yeah, he mimics.
She reaches down to the bottom of her extremely long T-shirt as if she's just going to strip right in front of them.
The poor girl, we find out, doesn't know that it's inappropriate to change in front of boys or the opposite sex. Like, so they immediately freak out, and Mike walks her to the downstairs basement bathroom and is like, please, this is called privacy. You go change in there. He goes to close the door to give her proper privacy, but she puts her hand.
She doesn't. She won't let him close the door all the way
for some reason. We don't know yet.
Yeah, so but he's sensitive to that. He doesn't force the issue and finds a compromise to leave it cracked a little bit, and she's okay with that.
Leaves it cracked. And this might be the first time she speaks to him, because he says, you don't want it closed? And she goes, no.
Yeah.
And so he closes it and leaves it cracked. And he goes, that's better? And she goes, yes. And so Mike goes and
she's still clear. We know she's bothered by, we don't know why, but she's bothered by the door being closed or being in a confined space or whatever it is. So we wonder what that's about.
Mike reconvenes with the other two boys, and they immediately just start thinking like there's something seriously wrong with her. She's an escapee from the mental hospital.
Yeah, Lucas has moved on. He's trying to figure out what this girl might have actually been about or where she's from, whatever. Dustin is still hung up on the fact that she was going to take off her clothes in front of him. Because Lucas is like, yeah, something's wrong with her head. Yeah. Thinking that she's from a mental institution, and Dustin goes, I know, right? She was gonna.
That's his proof that she's mental, that she was ready to.
Yeah.
So they start figuring out like, what do we do? And one of them is like, let's go tell your mom right now. And they're like, if we tell mom, she'll know, mom will know that we were out looking for Will. And then that's when
Which,
Mike's
how did they get her into the house? I mean, again, just what we talked about in episode one. Mike's parents are absolutely clueless.
yeah, yeah. Aside, let's just do some real true confessions right here. Did you ever sneak out in junior high or high school from your parents' house?
No, no.
Okay.
I didn't sneak out of the house.
Uh-huh.
We lived in too small of a house, and there would
Okay.
really have just been no way to do that. It was too small of a house. I did, however, sneak out of my room to
Hmm.
go out to like watch TV, at 3 a.m.
Yep. Yep.
Like, but I never snuck out of the house. I was also never cool enough to have a reason to, but that's beside the point. Even if I
Well,
did, I couldn't. I really couldn't have.
my cousin had his first vehicle when he was 15 and a half. His dad found like the
Whoa,
perfect first vehicle and didn't want to wait till he turned 16, so he just went ahead and bought him his first vehicle at 15 and a half, thinking it would just sit there. We started sneaking out at 15 and a half.
man,
Before he had a driver's license, we would just go driving at night.
that's
And
crazy,
nothing bad ever happened. We never got caught.
man.
But there
You're
were no
so cool.
accidents.
I tell you, the closest thing I ever got.
I'm not that kid anymore. I
My
couldn't
parents are
have done
very
that now.
trusting of me. They pretty much knew where I was all the time. What I
Mhm.
did do though was take advantage of the fact they trusted me. I would be given permission to be out
Mhm.
with friends or whatever, and then I would self extend my curfew. So they would know I was out, but they knew that I was doing whatever it was I said I was doing up until a certain point. And then
Gotcha.
I would lean on their trust to say, well, I'm going to say that we're doing something else. It's like what Nancy does in this episode. She says that she's going to
Oh,
the
that's
vigil,
true.
so there was a legitimate reason for her to be out, but then she did something else. That was more what I did as
I
opposed to
get you.
just putting a pumpkin under my sheets and sneaking out the house.
So, they come up with this ingenious plan. Ingenious may not be a real world. If it's not, that means I'm not a genius. Anyway,
You're
uh,
ingenious for saying that.
I'm an ingenious ignoramus. Mike's like, I got it. In the morning, she's gonna sleep here, and they're like, what?
Yep.
She's gonna sleep there? Like, listen, she'll sleep here in the
Listen, my
morning.
parents don't know what's going on here. She
Yeah,
could sleep here for days.
and she'll sneak out in the morning and just go ring the doorbell. And then Mike's
Yeah,
like, hey, we're just gonna pretend like that's the first time we're seeing you. But tell my mom you need help. My mom will know exactly what to
she'll
do.
know what to do.
Yep. Uh, and then I might have gotten that out of order. In the morning, she rings my front door. Mom will know what to do. Then we'll go find Will. And that's when she voluntarily shows Mike her tattoo. And Mike's like, "Whoa, I've never seen a kid with a tattoo." At one point, the boys leave, and the other two boys leave somewhere in here.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
exactly
she
sure.
she immediately says no to that plan. The plan of going upstairs and ringing the doorbell because she's aware, she knows that if an adult gets involved, they're going to do what Benny did and
That, but
call
that
Child
that's
Protective
true.
Services.
But that doesn't happen until later. So I'm getting this.
Oh, okay.
Uh, they figure out that they can't tell their mom right away because mom will know that they were out. Um, Eventually, the two boys leave. She shows Mike her tattoo, and he says, "Never seen a kid with a tattoo." And Mike says, "All right, good night. I'll see you in the morning." And she goes, "Night, Mike," and cries herself to sleep during the storm. And then the credits roll. So that's the opening
Okay.
scene. That part doesn't happen until later because I have that written down too. So after the credits, we're back outside, and someone is working on the electric pole at the buyer's
At the buyer's
house.
house.
Joyce and Jonathan are in the kitchen. Jonathan's made breakfast. They're talking about making flyers. Joyce is, of course, very frantic.
Yeah, Joyce is a
Uh,
new level of frantic in that scene too.
that's
She's
true.
not just urgent anymore. You can tell she's probably not slept.
That's
And
true.
again, we still don't think she's crazy
Nope.
because we're led to believe that she's genuine. but now we can see what toll it's taking on her, that she's panicking about how much a copy costs.
Yes.
Jonathan's like, Mom, you've got to pull yourself together.
And then Hopper shows up, and she lets
She's
it out on him.
angry.
We've been waiting
Yeah,
6 hours, and he's like, we've been looking for 6 hours. That's why you haven't heard anything, because we've been,
right.
search and rescue for 6 hours. Uh, and that's when Hopper goes to look at the phone, investigate the charred phone, and he
hmm
says it looks barbecued.
The
Um,
storm, because it had rained that night
yes.
before.
So
The
to
storm
him,
really
there's
fried this. And Joyce is indignant at that notion that it was the storm. She's
yeah,
her senses are so further down the road
right.
thinking about what has happened to her son. And Hopper is still taking things at face value. And she's like, "You think the storm did that? Like,
Yeah.
you don't think that's weird?" And he kind of appeases her, like, "Yeah, yeah, no, it's weird."
And she has to reiterate, like, no, I heard him on the phone. And they go
Yeah.
back and forth with how about a little trust here. And she sends a zinger to Hop and says, wouldn't you know your own daughter's voice on the phone?
Boy, she really stepped in it then. I
Low
mean,
blow.
obviously, we aren't not necessarily confirmed that she knows about his daughter. We think that she probably does.
Uh-huh.
She, if she knows he has a daughter or had a daughter, she probably is aware. So that makes it even a lower blow that she knows what she's saying,
I think she was
but she's
aware.
so distraught that her inhibitions are down,
Yep.
and that really messes him up. He has to kind of walk away and
Yeah, he kind of cowers and is just like,
regather
oh.
himself. Yeah,
So at that point, Hop just kind of shuts the scene down, like, that's it. I'm having Lonnie checked out. And Jonathan runs out and says to Hopper, let me go to Lonnie, which we know Lonnie is Joyce's either ex-husband or but he's at least the father of the kids.
yeah,
Jonathan's like, let me go, because
yeah.
if you pull up, Will think he's in trouble if he's there and sees a cop car. But if I go, I'll actually be able to find out if Will is
An
there or
astute
not.
observation, and again, a sense that Jonathan has got a real heartbeat for what's going on. That
Mm-hmm.
he's the antithesis of Joyce's frantic, urgent, kind of
Yep.
crazy ramblings. Jonathan's thinking clearly about this and has a plan.
And Hop refuses that and says, cops are good at finding. You stay here with your mom.
Well, no, Jonathan says before that to Hopper says that in response to Jonathan says, if he's there and he sees a cop, he'll hide. Will's really good at hiding. And that's when
Oh,
Hopper says,
right.
and cops are good at finding.
Yeah, that's true. He's really good at hiding. Yeah, that's
And again, if you're paying really close attention, especially if you've watched it several times, you might join that with what Joyce said in episode one of he's close. I feel like I sense that he's not that far away. And
yeah.
so if you're paying really close attention and then Jonathan says he's really good at hiding, because again, Jonathan knows Will really well, and you get the sense that they have a close relationship
Uh-huh. It,
that
it
um that he's that might play into where he is.
it also, but it doesn't, on the flip side, it doesn't feel like he's done this before, like run away from home. Like maybe they've had
Right.
games of hide and seek. Like when it comes to hide and seek, he's really good. But it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like this is a repeat behavior for Will to run off in a fit of anger or any emotion.
Right. Well, or I mean, we already talked about castle buyers in the backyard. Will is good at retreating. He's good at being kind of on his own.
Yeah, yeah,
He's he
yeah.
can he can he's okay with being by himself. And so he's
Yep.
good at hiding could also mean, yes, he's good at physically being where you can't find him, but he's also good at just retreating.
That makes sense.
And Jonathan knows Lonnie's not going to cooperate with the cops.
Yeah.
But Hopper, again, we see this real sense of confidence that Hopper's got it, and we kind of trust that Hopper's going to take care of business.
Yep. We cut to Mike in the kitchen and he's just downing some Eggo waffles. And there's a reason he and his sister have a bit of a sparring match because he's got dirt on her. At this point,
Yep.
Nancy does not necessarily. I don't think Nancy has dirt on Mike, unless Steve said, "Hey, as I was sneaking in here, I saw your brother
Yeah.
sneaking out." So maybe they do have dirt on each other, but they kick each other under the table as if to be like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
Um, and
Well,
Mike
and doesn't
sneaks.
Mike say, hey, did you do a lot of studying last night?
What was that test on? Human anatomy?
Yeah, Nancy's like, actually, we did do a lot of studying, and she's actually telling the truth, but just not the whole truth.
Yeah, that's part. That is a big part of childhood, isn't it? Telling partial truths, but not the whole
Yeah,
truth.
yeah,
So Mike sneaks a an Eggo waffle downstairs to check in on Elle, and then he tells her the plan. So so the boys must have been saying that plan. In the morning, she'll go ring the doorbell and tell mom like that's when she'll see mom for the first time, and I'll pretend like I don't know her. They must have been discussing that plan while Elle was changing.
right.
Because now Mike's telling her the plan for the first time. Like, okay, here's what I need you to do: go outside, ring the doorbell,
Gotcha.
tell my mom you need help, and we'll pretend to meet each other again. And she goes,
Yep.
no.
No. Yeah.
And then Mike's like, you're in trouble, aren't you? With who? And she's like, bad, bad
Bad.
people. And
Yeah.
like Mike's like, how bad? And that's when she goes, and
Yeah.
Mike gets it at that point, like,
Yeah.
oh, this
Which,
is
okay,
not
so a little
exactly
note on that. I obviously on the first watch and then on subsequent watches, I've always taken this to mean gun. Then my last rewatch of it, I had the brief thought that she's talking about mind, like mind control. But
yeah,
then I also realized she saw Benny get shot in the
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
in the diner. So she is legitimately saying like bad people will shoot good people.
yeah,
And I think it also means it matters that Mike has a heightened sense of imagination that we've already seen in the Dungeons and Dragons, that he's
uh-huh,
not like Hopper taking everything at face value and going, like Lucas is more like that. Lucas is more thinking practically, pragmatically about,
yeah,
no, she's obviously from the loony place. She's
yeah,
distracting us from our mission. Let's just forget about all this. Whereas Mike is willing to kind of go with this imagination story that ends up actually being more real to what's going on, and is prying it out of her to
yeah.
actually what's scenario.
And I think he's literally like reading her eyes and is like seeing how serious and scared and in trouble she is. Like I mean, she's a great actress at such a young age,
Yeah,
but she's portraying a very scared, endangered child very
yeah.
well, and he's
And
picking up
unlike
on that.
Lucas, he believes every word that she says. So that later when he does talk about her, he's not believed to be making anything up.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he sees it in her eyes. He sees again. He found her with a hospital gown in the woods with a shaved head, so he
Hmm.
obviously knows something's up, and his imagination is running away, probably in the right direction.
Yep. We cut to a disturbed looking Dr. Brenner, and he's listening to the phone call where uh, I think it's when Joyce called in that Will was missing. And I think that's put into the plot so that Dr. Brenner is like, oh gosh, the same night that one of my girls goes missing from our lab, this kid goes missing from the town. I think that's why that's put in there so that now we know that Dr. Brenner knows that Will is missing.
Yeah,
Um, then we cut back to the search party, and you know, you can tell Hopper's just tired but still invested. And he walks away from his two deputies, and one of them asks the other, they've screwed before, haven't they? Referring to Hopper and Joyce.
yeah. Well, one of them makes a really inappropriate comment about Joyce being crazy or something,
Uh-huh.
or
Oh, like
how she's
she's
frantic or
always,
whatever.
yeah,
And Hopper calls them out on it and says
yeah,
she doesn't know where her son is, or she's missing her kid. Like, show a little
yeah.
class.
Uh-huh.
And so the fact that he came to her defense can
Yeah.
only mean
That
that
they,
they have they
yeah,
but then it also puts in your own mind of like, oh,
maybe they
maybe
have.
they do have a relationship. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's defending her to to be who we think she is, which is genuinely concerned and not
Yeah.
crazy. Again, these two deputies are uh
Local
they're taking just
yodels.
everything at face value like she's crazy, right? And the fact that he defends her can only mean that they have a past.
We cut to back to the high school where some popular kids invite Nancy to Steve's house because his parents are gone for the night. Um, and Nancy's like, "It's Tuesday. I'm not gonna."
Yeah, she tells it to them like they forgot.
Like, guys, it's not the weekend. It's a
Yeah,
Tuesday night,
yeah,
and they make fun of her for that. And then they see poor Jonathan walk into the school and post like I think it was like a missing sign probably for Will on like the school
yeah.
bulletin board. The popular kids are not kind to him in his situation. They're like,
Well,
one of them
Steve's
even
first comment
jokes.
is like, "Oh, that's depressing."
Yeah.
Like
And then
like he's bumming me out.
yeah. And then the friend goes, I bet you he did it. Like, oh, that's super dark. But then Nancy
Yeah.
goes up to
Again,
him.
it separates Tommy H and
Uh huh.
Carol and Steve from Nancy.
Uh
Like we
huh.
talked about last time, that Nancy's not trying to get into their club. She's a
Yep.
bystander in this. She genuinely probably is interested in Steve. Steve might be the kind of tool that we think he is, but
Right.
definitely these other kids are the kind of mean, cool kids that are not sensitive and kind. But then you were about to say Nancy extends a bit of a hand out to Jonathan to say
Yeah.
like, "Hey,
This
we're all
sucks.
thinking about you. This really sucks. We're really sorry."
But even in that scene, though, we're led to believe, and it's understandable that Nancy and Jonathan obviously know who each other are. I don't know if they're the same
Right.
grade, but their brothers are best friends.
Right.
So just by nature of their brothers being good friends, they somehow know each other. And it's a weird scene because Jonathan's just such a well, he's distraught, but he's also a timid human. He portrays a pretty timid character most of the time, so he
Yeah.
just looks absolutely defeated in that
Yeah.
scene.
Well, he also looks like Nancy's in a different class even than him. So we have these three
Oh,
tiers
that's
in this
true.
one scene of like
Yeah.
the cool kids and Nancy are miles apart, but then
Uh-huh.
Nancy and Jonathan are also the same distance apart.
It's almost
And
like the
Jonathan's
working
finding
class
himself
kids.
at the
Yeah.
bottom of that
The
totem
kid,
pole, which is what we believe also about Joyce and maybe even about Will, given where they live and their financial situation and everything else. Like they're the down and out family in
yep,
the town.
the down and outs. That's true. That's a whole other subclass of kids in the 80s, I guess. As that scene fades, there is a school announcement that there will be a 8 p.m. assembly for Will, like a
Hmm.
vigil of, and then they say you can still come to the office paperwork for a search team. So that's as we're fading out. We cut to
Yeah.
Lucas and Dustin in class, and Mike's not there. That could have been, they could have played that up as a quick cliffhanger, like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Mike's missing now, but they didn't really because they cut to
Yeah.
him. We immediately see Mike coming out from behind some bushes when his parents leaves, and he rides his bike right back to his
Back
house
to his own house. Yep.
to check, to spend the morning with L or 11 essentially. Um, I'm trying to figure out. So he starts.
I did have while you're doing that, I did have the brief thought of like how hard it would be in today's technological climate to just like play hooky from school and sneak away and then get back to your own house 10 minutes later
That's so
with
true.
smart devices and ring
Yeah,
cams and like
you'd
all
have to
this stuff.
leave
Like,
your phone
man,
somewhere.
what a time to be alive where you could just be like, all right, see you, mom, I'm going to school, and then just like totally get away with whatever
Yeah,
you wanted to do because there wasn't the technology to find you out. Man, those were the days.
I don't remember when. Um, it had to have been when they were just the two of them together, Mike and 11, because Mike, maybe it was this morning when he finally goes, I never caught your name. My name's Michael, Mike for short. What's your name?
Yeah.
And then she doesn't say anything, and then he sees the tattoo. Like, is your name
Yeah.
11? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, well, maybe we'll call you L for short instead of
Yeah.
his.
Again, his imagination is perfectly fine with a human being having a name that's a number. He's
The L
perfectly
becomes
fine,
a
and then
pretty
even
important name.
figures out a solution. Like, well, we'll make a name out of it.
Yeah, very practical that situation. He starts giving Elle like a walking tour of the house, and he keeps showing her things, but then her attention just keeps, going wherever it
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah.
Uh,
Where it's like
then he,
we're just seeing this girl just be entrenching more and more in our mind of the story that she really is from a different culture altogether. She just has no concept. She sees Nancy and says pretty.
yeah, I love
She doesn't
Mike's
have
response. He goes, "I guess." I think that's what
classic
he says.
classic little
I
brother. Like
guess.
you look at the
I
picture,
don't
that's
know.
what you see. Like I'm trying to show you a television and
Yeah.
a lazy boy.
Now the lazy boy scene was weird to me because she acted afraid, and I had to imagine it's probably like feeling like she was on an operating table or an
Yep.
examination table, just being flung backwards. But obviously,
But
Mike
it's
made more of a
soft
game
and
out of
it's
it.
upholstered and it's not
Uh
a
huh. Yep.
paper. Yeah.
And then he tells her, "Trust me, okay." So it's like her
Yeah.
first time trusting another human, like in having a positive, maybe or a
Yeah.
non-negative experience so far. Every time she trusts this kid.
And
From
he's working
there,
on her too with didn't he earlier mention the word promise?
oh yes, I
And
can't remember
she
when
said,
that
"What is
happened.
promise?" Like it's clear that she doesn't know simple language like promise, and then later the word friend. But he's working with her on this. Like you can trust me.
I think that's coming up. I think the promise scene is coming up, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Um, from the Lazy Boy, we cut to Jonathan driving somewhere and listening to "Should I Stay or Should I Go" in his car by himself. That immediately cuts to him sitting on either his bed or sitting on Will's bed. So
Yep.
here's the second flashback, and
Yep.
he, as the older brother, he's just introducing cool music to his kid brother, and then they
Yeah.
overhear Joyce on the phone fighting with Lonnie, and Jonathan gets up and shuts the door,
Yeah.
um, and is like, do you really even like going to baseball games with him? Like, you don't have to do things with him if you don't want to. You don't have to
Yeah.
like things because other people tell you to. Do you even like baseball?
Another so relatable, so believable.
Yeah.
A older brother caring for his younger brother during a family crisis, showing him the cool music of the time,
Uh
like
huh.
also helping him through it. Like you don't have to like everything dad says to like just because he's your
Yeah.
dad. Like you can kind of stand on your own 2 feet here and helping him through that. And again, just shows you a little insight into this family that really is juxtaposed against the Wheeler family and all
Mm-hmm.
their, kind of they're fighting at the dinner table and they're not knowing what's going on. And yet at the buyer's house, even though it's perceived to be more dysfunctional because they're single parent and, down and out financially, actually they're the really healthy family.
Yeah. They're the. That's true. Um,
But
I
that
I
song is
like
really important that Jonathan shows him the
I like
clash.
I like in this scene where he says, "You're not supposed to don't like things because other people tell you to." But then at first I was like, "Well, he's doing that." But then he doesn't correct himself, but he
Clarifies.
gets Will to say, "Do you like the Clash or not?" Like he gives his brother the agency to say, "Hey, even right now in this situation, if you don't like the Clash that I introduced to you, you don't have to like it." But of course, Will's like, "No, I like it."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and he likes it because his older brother likes it, and he trusts
Yeah, it'd
and
be hard
respects
not
his
to in
older
that
brother
scene.
in a way that he doesn't respect his dad.
That flashback is over with just Jonathan driving somewhere on his way out of town.
Yep.
Uh, next, Joyce arrives at her place of work, but she's not there to work.
Yep.
I think there was a Christmas song playing
Yeah,
as
the
she
subtitles
walks
did
in.
say Christmas music was playing.
I don't
Because this,
remember if
remember,
that
this
plays a
happened
part or not.
November
Oh yeah,
November
that totally
6th,
makes
I
sense.
think.
Yep.
November 6th, 1983. So this would have been the first probably week that Christmas music was being played in retail stores and
Yep.
on the radio.
In this scene, it's established that she's been a good employee. I think she said she's been there for 10 years and she
Yeah.
just needs an advance.
Yeah. She gets bold in this scene with her boss.
And the boss is like, I didn't expect you today. I got someone to cover for you. So the boss
Right.
knows the situation going on and found someone to cover for her. But she's like, I need 2 months of money or 2 weeks of money and a pack
Yeah.
of camels.
The first plea that she has, you can tell she's got her tail between her legs. She's
Mm-hmm.
ashamed to ask for the advance. She's ashamed to ask for 2 weeks of the advance.
The
But then
phone, yep.
after she emboldens herself with her kind of laying out on the table how good of an employee she's been,
And
she
how
she gets
desperate she,
bold to
yeah.
say, I need this phone, I need 2 weeks advance. And you can see that he agrees to it, and she goes,
Yep.
and a pack of camels. Like she's got
Yep.
him on the hook. She's gotten some confidence now that she didn't have even just in the first
And it's
part of that scene.
interesting. She's the kind of person like who probably doesn't ask much for herself ever, you know. So for her to
Right,
step
which
out and
again
go,
we talked about in episode 1 with her kind of lying about, oh yeah, Will's probably just left for school already.
yeah,
I'm not going to ask for any sympathy from you.
that's true. Uh, cut to her house and someone's knocking at the front door. It looks like some sort of repairman. No one answers the buyer's house, and so this
We
guy on
assume
a
it's the telephone guy from the earlier scene
uh-huh,
until the
and
music changes and he turns around on the radio and says, "All clear."
we're all clear. That's when men in hazmat suits jump out, including Dr. Brenner, and they start taking readings from the yard with these weird scientific
His foot hits the
devices.
ground and the music goes, "Doo."
Boom.
Like you just know these guys are trouble. But yeah, they're
He
like they've got these weird like sensor
almost
devices that
like
they're
a Geiger counter that
like a
detects
Geiger. I think you're supposed to
radioactivity
kind
or
of think of
something.
it like a Geiger counter. Yeah.
So Dr. Brenner eventually walks around back into the backyard and the things keeps elevating, whatever this thing is. Then he leads them into the shed and he
The
flips
readings are
lights on.
going louder and higher. Yeah.
And he, with his own eyes, he sees something oozing between the boards of the shed, coming into the shed. And his response is, do you remember his adjective?
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Yeah,
Not like,
it's so cold too because he's not trying to solve anything. He's a researcher. He's
yeah,
just trying to learn.
yep,
And that's eerie and like disconcerting with everything that's going on. You have this guy who you just don't get the right sense from, and then he's not interested in solving anything. He's just trying to like
yeah.
gather data.
He's not scared by this side of this, like, oh no, this thing is escaping. He's not, but he's also not excited, like, oh yeah, our secret weapon
Yep.
is.
Yep.
He's neither scared or excited. He's just, like you said, like scientifically
Yeah.
cold, like
Yeah.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
Cut back to Mike's house. He's showing Elle all of his toys, which I love his. I mean, he was probably 10 or 11 when he shot it. So for him to be in a
Yep.
scene showing off toys to a new person, totally believable.
Yep.
She loses interest, looks at his trophies. Then she sees that in a picture of them winning a trophy, she sees that Will was a part of that group, and she just
Locks in.
points, locks in, and and then Mike asks, "You know Will? Did you see him?" And then as soon as he asks that, he doesn't get an answer because his mom comes home, and he's like, "Oh crap, my mom's home." And he's frantic. He's like, "What do I do? What do I do?" So he puts Elle in a closet. He's like, "In here. I won't tell her about you." So he's reassuring her, like, "I'm going to hide you now, and I'm not going to tell my mom about you." And he closes the door this time.
Yep. All the way.
Do you remember what happens to her?
She has a flashback.
Flashbacks. Yep. So she's back in the lab being drugged down a hallway by two
The
orderlies or
hardest
something.
to this point, the hardest scene to watch that we've been confronted with so far. I have another
Yeah.
one coming up later that's even harder for me, but her being drugged down the hallway, yelling "Papa,"
Yelling
Brenner,
Papa,
Brenner
just
coming
watching her
out,
go.
Such a hard scene to watch.
And she in that scene just gets put into some sort of closet. Like it doesn't look menacing, but there was something about having to be shut into a closet that she just
Yeah.
whatever was going to happen was going to be
Well,
bad.
because they
So
throw these two guards or orderlies or whatever they are, when they get to the end of the hallway that they're dragging her to, they throw her into a solitary confinement room, and we
essentially,
kind
so
of
yeah.
we get like a metal, kind of like a elevator looking thing, and so
Mm-hmm.
we understand why she's so traumatized by this closet that Mike put her in. Is
So
that
we
what he
cut.
says? Promise he's going to come back to her, or that he's not going to tell his
Yes,
mom. He's
I
not. I'm not
think
going to tell my mom about you.
I think
She
that's
says, "What
when
is promise?
promise. Yeah,
What is promise?" And he is. It's something that you can't break ever.
yep. I think that was the introduction of that word. After she her flashback cuts off to Mike sitting on the couch with his mom saying he's sick. And she's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" He's like, "Last time I told you I was sick, you still made me go to school." And then there comes this kind of tender moment where his mom
Yeah,
levels with him, is like, "I want you to feel like you can tell me anything. Don't hide anything from me." So it's like, it's an actual sign of an attempt at parenting in this moment.
yeah.
Like
Well, and she understands. She's like,
everything's going on.
I understand. Yeah,
Yeah. And then as soon as she says, "You don't have to hide anything from me," they both hear like a bump or a noise upstairs.
yeah.
And she goes, "Is someone else here?"
Somebody.
He's like,
No.
"No." He already starts
What's so
hiding.
funny too is that that's exactly how an 11-year-old would lie.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like, "Yeah, I heard that too. That's weird," or, you know, I make up something about like, "Oh, I was working on something that must have fallen over." Like he just goes, "No."
No. So he runs upstairs and she's in the closet just crying. And basically, Mike kept his promise. So it's kind of like when she
Yep.
realizes, oh, that's what a promise is.
Yeah.
We quickly cut
And
back
it's
to
like it's
Joyce.
also looks like the first time that she's ever actually had somebody follow through with what they're saying they're going to
Ooh,
do. She looks at him like
whoa.
you're different. You're different than the other.
Yeah.
She doesn't just have tears in her eyes. She looks extremely relieved and like
Yeah, that's a
a
good
sense
point.
of trust that she has in him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Back to Joyce's house. She's got a new phone. She plugs it in. Dial tone works. So she
Great scene.
drags.
I love how
She
she does this.
she just tries to drag over a chair because she's just going to sit there and hold the phone until it rings.
Yep.
Cut to the search party continuing, and they're at a quarry. Thinking maybe that Will went missing in
Yep.
a quarry. That'd be horrible. When
Yep.
they're cut off mid conversation, the secretary Flo had called them and said, "Hey, there's a problem at Benny's restaurant." Cut
Yep.
quickly to them walking into Benny's restaurant to the sound of flies. They hear zzz,
Yep.
and there's a dead Benny. I don't remember if there was a note on the table, but it looks like
Nope.
it looks like he had shot himself.
Yep. They had put the weapon in his hand, hunched over the table.
So maybe not a suicide note. I don't remember seeing that,
No,
but
there
it's
wasn't a
definitely not
suicide
part of the
note. It
plot.
just made it look really clear like he had shot himself. Yeah. And they even say one of them says suicide, and he goes, "Yeah, it looks like it."
Yeah. And then the two deputies or whatever must have always worked there because they said to Hopper, "Oh, it makes you feel like a big town cop again."
You got a
And he
missing kid.
says,
You got a suicide. Yeah.
and he's like, "I mostly dealt with strangers." And then he says, "Benny was a friend."
Yep.
So I don't remember if we ever find out what type of friends they were, but it's definitely it's definitely affected Hopper in a deeper way than just a random.
Yep. Well, and we get a sense in a later scene too of how it's affecting him. He's not just trying to solve these mysteries, although he is. He's
Mm-hmm.
also internalizing it in a way that we find out at a later
Yeah.
scene.
Uh, Cut to Jonathan driving up to and walking into Lonnie's. He walks past this lady named Cynthia, who turns out to be Lonnie's new girlfriend. And his dad catches him in the hallway, catches him
Yeah,
off
what a
guard.
what an odd interaction. And it's so believable too. But like
Yeah,
Jonathan's not there to reconnect with his dad at any level or meet his new flavor of the month. He just wants to find Will and believes that if Will is there, he's hiding. And so he goes into immediate like dad wants to give him a hug and he's just like, get off me.
yeah, just
And is just yelling for Will, looking around the house.
yeah, a super awkward situation, and we still don't know what Lonnie. I don't think we know what Lonnie knows at that point, or maybe he eventually did get Joyce's message that Will's missing, but he's obviously not taking
Well, he
it
does because when
seriously.
they go outside in that same interaction, they go outside and
Uh-huh.
Lonnie's just trying to show Jonathan his new muscle
Oh, that's
car.
true. New
And
car.
Jonathan opens the trunk and Lonnie is super offended, like, well, do you want to give me a cavity search too? Like, do you
Yeah.
not trust me to the point where you feel like I'm hiding Will in a trunk? So Lonnie is putting it on to Jonathan. And then he goes,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to tell the same thing to you that I told to those cops who showed up. He's not here.
Yep. But
And that's when Jonathan's like, wait, there were cops that showed up here that you talked to. Why didn't you call mom back?
yeah.
Like, why didn't you
It's
call mom and say that he's not here? And Lonnie's like, I don't know. I figured that she just lost him because she's a bad mother, you
yes.
know?
He
And
starts
he's
deflecting
like,
it
the
all onto
cops are
her.
involved. There's a whole search party and everything. And Lonnie's like, oh, is Hopper still the chief there? And
Yeah.
Jonathan doesn't say anything, implying that he is. And Lonnie just rolls his eyes. He's like, you got to get out of that hellhole. Like,
Yeah. Move to the big
yeah.
city where there's more
And he's like, does
opportunities.
your mom even know you're here? And he
Yeah.
goes like this, and he
Great
goes,
parenting.
oh, so she's got a kid, one kid that goes missing, and another one that runs wild. Like great parenting there. Like just
Yeah.
totally throwing Joyce under the bus, and really endearing Jonathan's belief of him to us to be like, yeah, we know why Jonathan and him don't have a good relationship, and why Joyce and he probably separated. Because he's
But
like,
then
oh, he's living in some trailer in an industrial part of the city and is like, yeah, this place is way better than Hawkins.
he is aware of how he's coming across because he eventually finishes the conversation by saying, uh, Lonnie goes, all I'm saying is maybe I'm not the asshole. Like, so he's aware that,
Well, he knows that what I think what he's doing is trying to put the narrative back on Joyce to say, Joyce is telling you this about me.
right,
But the fact that Will's missing and you're here without her knowing
is the
actually
proof.
indicates that it's her.
Yep, absolutely.
And it just that really inflamed me against him of like he's not involved in Jonathan's life and is in a moment where he should be caring about where his son is,
Yep.
really only gets concerned about what Jonathan and Joyce think of him.
Yeah. Oh, classic narcissist, maybe.
Yeah, classic. But then again, we now we were rooting for Jonathan even more because he stood up against his dad and is
Hmm.
caring about where Will is now double for his dad.
Um, After school is over, the boys ride over to Mike's house. So just Dustin and Lucas, and to their shock, Elle is still there. So that must mean that Mike didn't go through with the plan of sending her up and around the house to ring the doorbell.
Yeah,
So
and Mike
she's
has a
still
lot to
there.
catch them up on.
And the first thing he says to them was, uh, she knew Will was missing. Like, no, guys, she walked in my house and saw a picture
He
of
knows
Will and
Will.
pointed. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Mike's trying to convey this to Dustin and
yeah,
Lucas that she knows something about Will. And Lucas gets in her face and yells at her. Lucas is really rough with her in general, like yells at her,
yeah,
do you know about Will? Tell us
yeah,
where he is.
yeah.
And then Lucas
Because
gets fed
Lucas
up.
this whole time is only concerned about Will. He thinks 11
Yeah,
is a distraction.
yeah, a
And
crazy
then
person.
when 11 does cross paths with the Will mission, he is, like you said, he's only interested in that information out of her. Doesn't care about her at all, just wants her to serve his mission
Yeah,
of finding.
very strange. Um, Lucas then tries to storm out of the room and says, we're going back to plan A. We're telling your mom about her right now. And he
Yep.
walks towards the door and it somehow shuts. And he's like, that was weird. And he goes to open the door again, tries to walk out, and then the door is ripped from him and it shuts again. And they,
With force because they showed the dresser and like all the figurines
yes,
like shake on the dresser.
and they look at her, and then we learn something new about her when she uses her powers.
Yep. For
There's
the
there's
first
some
time.
there's some
Yep.
blood coming down her nose. So it's then and there that the three boys learn she's got some sort of powers.
Yeah.
Woo! Shit got real again.
Yeah. And we know how serious she is about when she says,
Adults.
I don't want adults involved.
Yep.
And
Uh
she will extend herself to make sure that that doesn't happen.
yeah. To the at the cost of essentially coming out to the boys as, or maybe she's not self-aware enough to know that this is going to be weird to them that I have these powers, but to to keep that agenda going where parents can't know, this is her time to be like
Yeah.
exercise their powers.
Yep.
um we cut back to the sheriff's office and Hopper is interviewing one of Benny's friends. Benny's friend eventually said, "Yeah, I was there, and there was this kid there too. That was
Yep.
kind of weird." And Hopper's like, "Finally, we've got some proof that
Yeah.
Will was there." And they show them the picture of. They show Benny's friend the picture of Will, and Benny's friend's immediately like, "That's Lonnie's
Yeah.
kid.
No,
This was
that's
not
Lonnie's kid that's missing. Yeah, this
missing.
was
Yeah,
another
this
kid.
is yeah." So they tried to keep asking him like, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" Eventually, Benny's friend was like, "Well, it could have been if the kid had time to
Yeah.
shave his head," but he doesn't give them assurance that it was definitely
But he
Will
gives
that
them
was
enough
missing
hope for
again.
them to think that it could be and actually I remember as an audience thinking, no, they're gonna this is gonna lead them down the wrong path.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
but it's also so believable that some old guy eating lunch at a diner
yeah.
would would only have gotten a glimpse,
The other
uh
thing he does in this scene is he reinforces a different idea that no, Benny wasn't suicidal. Like we were going to go fishing, he was
right.
excited about it. Did he have enemies? Well, his exes didn't like him, but he didn't have any enemies. Like
Nothing like that, he says, yeah.
yeah, he's like this is not in character for
Yeah.
Benny
We
to be
also
this
see, I
way.
think it's important to see here too, that something we saw in episode one, and we've continued to see is just Hopper's actual cop abilities. He's
Mm-hmm.
asking the right questions, trying to get to the right places, that we're we're just continuing to be reinforced that Hopper knows what he's doing, he's on it,
Yeah,
and he's probably going to be the one to crack the code eventually because he's reading between the lines in the right way.
it's probably from his time as a big city cop. Like he probably
Right,
wherever he came from, he probably had to do some serious police work, and he probably
right.
came to Hawkins
And
to
again,
not have to do it anymore.
he's empathizing with a missing kid,
Yep,
himself having lost a kid.
yep. We cut to Dustin Lucas having dinner with Mike's family.
It's great.
Funny scene. It's shocking. It's almost a break in plot because for whatever reason, Elle goes walking through the house. Like she
Yeah,
should know better if she doesn't want adults. Like maybe she's just tripping. I don't know. Like you know what I'm saying? Like she's so scared of
yeah.
the adults
I
coming.
thought
Why
about
does
that,
she
and
go
I
through?
also thought about the fact that we've already learned about that house that you can hear. We've already like the way they did the sound design. We've seen Mike run up the steps. We know that it makes noise.
Uh,
We know that we've seen them run up the steps of the basement. And 11, we're supposed to believe that 11 walks from upstairs down to the living room. I mean, just
yeah,
within 10, 15 feet of the kitchen table or the dining room table, and
yeah.
they don't hear anything. And but the boys see again, just these parents don't know what's going on. Like Mike literally looks right at her, and Dustin is looking past what's her name? The mother of the Wheelers. And
Yeah,
to the point where the mom it feels like something is going on and goes to turn around,
and Dustin
and Dustin just bangs the table and goes, "Oh, sorry, it's spasm."
spasm. And that's another scene where it cuts to the youngest sister. There, I can't
Yep.
remember her name, baby
Yeah.
something, but she's in her eyes. You almost go, "Oh my gosh, she saw Elle." Like
Yeah.
maybe that little girl wasn't just scared because Dustin made a loud noise, but it's almost
Yeah.
the look on that little girl's face. It gets me every time. Like she's feeling all the
Yeah.
feels.
I remember thinking when I was watching it that like she's going to play an important role in this, or I had that
Hmm.
thought
Yeah.
because of
Oh
how much
yeah.
they show her and how she never says anything, and yet they show her so much.
At
Like
this
they
point,
really want us to know about this little girl.
yeah, she's almost like the Sixth Sense kid. Like, does she have powers? Like, what's going on
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Um, from there, we cut to more searching for Will, and
Time out.
uh,
In that scene, is that when Nancy reveals to her parents that there's a vigil that night at 8?
yes, this
And she's like, Barb's gonna drive.
yes,
And again, is it that scene?
it is that scene. Hmm.
Okay, so mom is like, why am I just now finding out about this? Again, absolutely clueless about what's going on. And Nancy's like, well, I thought you knew.
I thought you knew. Like,
Barb's gonna drive. Like, it's gonna be really weird if I'm not there, mom. Everybody's going. And
uh-huh,
mom caves, like, all right, just be back by 10. And then she
uh-huh,
goes, well, take the boys with you. Obviously, they would want to go because of Will. And they all know
in
the
unison.
roots. They all know that Nancy's not going to,
Uh-huh,
or they either suspect she's not going to, or they certainly don't want to be seen with Nancy.
uh-huh.
And they all go, no, no,
No.
yeah,
Yep.
excuse me. And so Nancy gets a legitimate reason to leave the house that night with Barb. And I think
A cover story.
the boys are probably planning to go back out.
I honestly don't remember why the boys were so adamant about that, other than probably just to stay home and actually keep figuring out what to do with Elle.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're just gonna leave and leave this girl
Hope she
in the
doesn't go
house.
walking around again.
Not that we assume that you would ever find her because you don't know what's going on in your house, but
You wouldn't look in a tent fort downstairs. Um, Now we cut to they're still searching, and someone asks, "You think Earl really saw Will like with a shaved head stealing food from Benny?" Like that doesn't sound that doesn't sound right. That Will would have figured out how to shave his head and then go
right.
missing. So they lend some question to that. But as they're searching, a whistle blows as if to imply, "Hey, everyone, come look at this." The
Yeah,
teacher found a tag that had either gone into or originated from a tunnel that looks like someone had crawled in or out and ripped something, and a
yep,
tag was left behind on this tunnel. And so Hopper and the deputies go over the hill to see, okay, where's this tunnel go? And we see them looking through a fence at the Hawkins lab.
yeah. So they find a piece of fabric
Uh huh.
that I can't remember, did Benny's friend mention what the boy that he saw was wearing?
No, but it would have made sense at some point, even if we didn't hear it. It would have
I
made
mean, from a
sense.
distance, he might not have seen what the kid was wearing because if
That's
like
true.
through the pass through window on the other
That's true. At this
preparation, they might
point,
not have been able to see that, but
yep.
um, yeah,
Cut back to Elle playing with the radio in the basement. Mike brings her more food, and now the boys are kind of scared of her, like keeping their distance. And they say, "We would have never upset you if we knew you had superpowers."
yeah,
Which superpowers is, it's a great, just a kid
yeah.
word
How
to
else
be
do you
fascinated
describe
with.
that? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they say something about friend, like, "Can you help us find our friend?" And she's like, "What is
What
friend?"
his friend? Yeah,
So a lot of words she didn't grow up with that are unfortunate.
yeah,
Cut to Nancy and Barb driving. Barb's like, or Nancy's like, "Pull over here." Like, why? And like, we can't park in Steve's house park or driveway. So uh it's funny. It's a funny scene. Nancy's like changing clothes into something better looking, presumably. And Barb goes, "Is that a new
yeah,
bra?"
yeah. Barb's onto her. I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
Nancy thinks that she's getting away with it, and Barb's all over her.
Yeah. And I don't at this point, I just don't think Barb's being jealous. I think she's genuinely
No,
concerned for Nancy's
yeah.
character, and
Well, I
so
think she's also mourning the loss of a friend to an extent that like Nancy and I were always okay
yeah.
with not being in the cool crowd, and Nancy's clearly being drawn to
And
somebody on
Barb
the other side.
and Barb just doesn't seem to want to even she didn't care if the cool kids like her. Like
You are
she doesn't
right.
want to go to the party, so they walk up the front door. Steve says, "Hello, ladies." And then, in kind of a sneaky way, as soon as he says hello, ladies, it cuts to a scene with like underwear on a floor.
Yes,
And I immediately thought, geez, they already
that didn't take long.
did the deal. But we find out it's
Yep.
Hopper in bed with some
With
woman.
whose name is
And
Sandra, we find out,
oh,
or the subtitles call her
did
Sandra.
it? Yeah, she looked like
But
a
yeah,
Sandra.
this is the moment I was talking about earlier where they go out to the back patio, or
Uh
he goes
huh.
out to the back patio on the
Get
like a
some.
porch,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and he's obviously lost in thought, and she gets up to come out to kind of
Mm-hmm.
bring him back inside. And he says, do you ever feel like you're cursed?
Cursed.
Do you ever the feeling that you're cursed?" And he's internalized. He's like the last missing kid was, 20 was back in 23, and the
1923.
last suicide was like 61 or something, he
Uh
says. So
huh.
it's like he's he's not taking it well that this stuff has happened on his watch.
Yep.
And he's been internalizing all of this all along, that
Yep.
he doesn't feel thrilled that he's able to use his cop skills again like he did in the big city. He's feeling like he just can't get away from tragedy.
Yeah. Absolutely. We don't really learn who she is because from there it cuts back to the basement, and uh, here's part of why this episode was probably called why it's called. Lucas says, "What's the weirdo doing?" So
Right.
he straight up just calls her a weirdo while she's in the same room as him. So here's where part of the namesake of the episode comes from. Lucas says, "What's the weirdo doing?" Which weirdo is just a great 80s,
Yeah.
90s insult.
He's not interested in
And
trying to get to know her. He just,
not talking to her, he's not asking
right.
her, "What are you doing?" He's just
Yep.
still at a distance. And she looks at the DoD board and picks up a piece and holds it to them and says, "Will,
Will, the wizard.
the wizard."
Yeah.
Mhm. Then she clears the board and turns it upside down, so all you see is the black, featureless bottom of the playing board.
What doesn't one of the boys say, you know where he is?
Maybe. Yep, I think so.
Like, oh, that's Will. Do you know where he is? Because they're just trying to find him. So they're like, oh, maybe she has some information as to where he is. And that's when she clears the board and flips it over.
And puts his piece right in the middle.
Yeah.
And she just says the word hiding,
Hiding.
which that's who we know Will is now. He's
Yeah.
good at hiding. And they question, like, is he hiding from bad men? And she goes, nope. And she reaches for another DoD piece and slams it on the board. Boom. And it's the Demogorgon.
What's so great about how they shot that is that when she sets it down, they shoot it from behind her hand, so you don't actually see what it is when she slams it down. It's when she pulls her hand away that it's revealed. It's
Uh-huh.
class, just so such great filming. But
And it
it's
cuts
that
to the
three.
boys, and the boys are stressed. They're like,
It's the Demogorgon that got Will in the game from the last episode.
yep, she was. Poor kid. He's 2 for 2 getting got.
Getting got.
Uh yeah. So from there you see the boys are scared, but then it cuts back to Jonathan. He's back in Hawkins. It's at night. He opens his trunk and takes out his camera to go in the woods. He's using his flash to take pictures and he says, "Where are you?" Like, I don't know. I mean, he's it's a strange thing to take pictures at night in general, but thinking that he'll capture something that will help him
Yeah,
with that mystery.
I thought it was interesting that he was trying to say, "Where are you?"
Uh-huh.
Was he asking about Will? Are we supposed to think that he was saying, "Where are you, Will?"
I would think so. It just looks like he's thinking way outside the box, trying to capture
Yeah.
something that no one else could see, or maybe he's just there because he knew he went missing at night, so he's just trying to experience that
Yeah.
road, that forest at night, just to see what happens. I mean, that's
And then he hears a female
screaming,
blood-curdling scream.
and he's like, "It's on."
Yeah, and I
So he,
think it's important to know that chronology too, that he did not go into the woods necessarily knowing that he was close to Steve's house. He was there for his own
nope,
purposes and had to run from where he was
yep,
to to the sound of the scream, um, to where obviously he finds teenagers playing in a pool,
yep.
who he recognizes pretty quickly.
It's Tommy H. kind of threatening to push his girlfriend into the pool, being in a flirtatious way, and she screams. Um, Steve comes out and shotguns a beer, and he and Nancy have a flirty little go back and forth, and
Am
then
I supposed to be impressed at that?
yeah, and then Nancy chugs a beer,
Yeah.
which I feel like is a that's a big deal as a teenager
Yeah.
to to cave to that kind of pressure and to go, okay, this is who I am now. I drink
But
beer at
she also
parties.
doesn't really seem to be too affected by it. She knows how to do it.
No,
Either seen it a lot or she's just a natural. And then after she does it, she doesn't seem to really
no,
hate it. She's like, "Thank you very much." She does this kind of weird bow.
yeah,
Um, and they're all like,
and
"Oh,
but then
she
the
belongs
most
here."
shocking things to me, the most shocking thing happens. She, with just this much peer pressure, she gets Barb to try it. Like, come on, Barb, come on. So Barb picks
Yeah.
up a can, and Barb is going to shotgun a beer. We think because she's got it in her hand. She's about to puncture it.
But she
Uh,
she bungles it.
Accidentally cuts her
Yeah.
finger,
Yeah, she
and
can't.
there's probably like some foley right then and there. There's just like some gross sounding slithering of a knife.
Yeah.
And so she cuts herself and says,
Pretty
"Where's your
bad.
bathroom?"
I mean,
Yes.
they're all like, "Oh,
Where's your bathroom? So she goes inside. So only the four of them are left outside. Tommy eventually pushes his girlfriend in. He jumps in. Steve pushes Nancy. All the kids are in the pool. And
yeah,
Jonathan, kind of creeper style,
yes,
he's out there still taking pictures in the woods of what's unfolding.
yep,
It's kind of creepy.
yeah."
Yeah.
I think it's relatable in the sense that it's his way of being involved with something he probably
Oh,
wishes he'd be involved in.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
I'm trying to give him an out or like a bigger picture reason. Like, why would he keep taking pictures of that situation? Like, does he think he's gathering evidence or collecting something, or
yeah,
like, or maybe it's just spur of the moment? Like he just felt awkward enough, he didn't know what to do, so he kept taking pictures. I don't know. It's a little weird.
yeah,
Um, cut to Joyce home alone, asleep in her little chair, and the phone rings. She answers. She hears a lot of weird sounds on the other end of the phone. And then she hears Will say, "Mom," and the lights dim and do some weird stuff. And then electric comes through the phone again and fries it.
yeah. She just can't catch a break
So
with that
now she's
phone.
heard her son's voice, like not just breathing, but now she heard him say "Mom" through her phone, through the telephone line. It fries it and she screams, "No." But then the lights start blinking in very strange patterns in her own house.
Yep.
And she follows one lamp, and then all of a sudden, from Will's bedroom, the stereo kicks on. It's "Should I Stay or Should I Go?"
This is the other scene that I was saying was so hard to watch. Like the scene of 11 being drugged down the hallway is hard emotionally. This one
Yeah,
is like the first really true frightful
yeah,
scene.
yeah.
in the
And
show for me.
she's so brave in this episode. Like, she just flings the door open and the lights keep blinking. And she looks at one main light and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter, and brighter, and then it just goes out. And the moment the light goes out, the wallpaper right beside her starts pushing out like hands and a face are trying to come through it.
Dude, that when that happened, when we were watching it, I was like, I mean, that was like
I
the
can still
most
see it. Like, I'm
terrifying
surprised
thing.
I haven't had nightmares. I can still see that
So
scene.
terrifying. Well, because to this point, you've believed that, yeah, you believe that,
There's some sort of separation.
yeah, man,
Uh, she sees it and screams and runs out and gets in her car.
yep,
Um, and she's about ready to take off in her car.
yeah.
But from Will's room, the music starts again, the lights start again. And
He has this moment where she has a decision to make. Should I stay or should I go?
and in that moment, she's like, no, that's Will trying to get to me. And she heads back to the house where she just about saw something break through the
Dude,
wallpaper. She walks back into
that
that house.
resolve, it just that resolve that she has of like, I am going to stay here to find him breaks your heart because you don't know what she's walking back into,
Yeah.
but also terrifies you because you're like, I want her to get away too because I want to get away. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to be back in that house. I don't want her to go back in there because I don't want to
Not by
see,
herself. No, no.
yeah,
Go
I don't
get
want to see
somebody.
what's going to happen in there. But she, yeah, she braves it and goes back inside.
We don't see what happens because we cut back to Jonathan's house, or sorry, to Steve's house for the final scene. Everybody's toweling off. They go inside. Steven says, I'll get you some dry clothes. So Nancy starts to head upstairs. Barb's like, what are you doing? And Nancy just, this is a low. She goes, it's okay. Just go ahead. Go home.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
now she just wants to spend time with
she,
Steve. So
she
Nancy
plays
tells
off,
Barb to,
she plays off this whole like, well, I have to get some dry clothes because oops,
yeah, I fell in the
I
pool.
accidentally fell in the pool.
Yeah, that's
Barb
that's
sees
so
right through it.
true.
Again, just
Just
like everything the Barb and Nancy's relationship has been so far.
yeah,
Barb is just like she, like you said, it's a new low for Nancy, and Barb recognizes that right away.
yeah,
She's like, Dude, this is not you. I can't believe that you're in Steve Harrington's house and you're about to go upstairs in his room,
yep,
and that you think that I don't know what's going on to the point where
right,
you're like, oh, I'll just get a ride later, whatever. You just go
yep.
home.
Jonathan's still in the bushes taking pictures like a creeper. Now Nancy's in the room. Steve gives her some clothes to change into, and for the second time this episode, the word privacy is used. She goes, "Can I get some privacy?" As in,
Yeah.
like, I'm about to change my shirt. I don't want you to
I
see.
have a theory about this,
And
but
then
yeah.
then she quickly goes, Steve, and he
So
turns
here's my theory.
around.
This is what's happening. She asks him for privacy
Uh huh.
and he gives it to her.
Yeah,
He's like, oh,
he
sorry.
turns around.
And he turns around and he goes to walk out. It was a test. She was not asking for privacy. She was asking for respect and he gave it to her.
Oh, because it
And
didn't take
so
her long.
that's why
Turn.
when he actually turns around and walks away, he doesn't push. He
No,
doesn't try to
he's
do
real pushy too. He could have been like, yeah,
yeah.
that's
Well,
true.
Barb said like he's just trying to get into your
In
pants,
your
you know.
pants. Yeah,
And Nancy's like, no, 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 no. And I think Nancy actually thinks that Barb might be right. But when she says, can I have some privacy? And Steve was like, yeah, oh, sorry, no problem. And he turned around and walked away. Nancy's
yep,
like, okay, I've been affirmed now that he actually does respect me to whatever level I need him to, which is
yep.
probably much. And that's all it takes. And she hikes up her skirt
Well,
a little more and shows the world to him.
and I mean, she doesn't weigh 100 pounds wet. She's already had one beer in her system, so she's
Yeah,
definitely got some cloudy decision making happening.
yeah.
Well, we cut outside to the final scene, and Barb, like a good friend, didn't leave.
Yeah, she
I don't know
stuck.
what her plan was, but I imagine she was just going to stay there until Nancy actually needed a ride home. I imagine, because
Yep.
that's who we've come to think of, Barb. So she's sitting on the diving board,
Did you
holding
notice
her.
that she's wearing those stirrup pants that were so popular?
No.
She's sitting on the diving board with her feet in the water, and you can
Uh-huh.
tell she has those stirrup pants that like clasp underneath your foot that girls used to wear.
Oh,
They've
huh.
been undone, and so there's these two flaps. I
Oh,
know
I did.
a little
I
piece of
didn't notice that.
nostalgia just that they dropped in there. But yeah, she's just chilling in the pool,
Holding
waiting
her
to be done.
throbbing finger, and she'd obviously not found the proper bandage because it's still bleeding, and just a little bit of blood drops
Yeah.
into the pool.
Looks like she wrapped it in like a dishcloth.
Yeah, a little bit of blood drops in, and flick, flick, flicker, the lights go out, and it all happens so fast. But
The
some
shadow.
because the blood hit the pool, something was there. The lights went off.
Yeah.
Uh, she gets. We assume she gets taken or eaten or killed or something, but something happens to her from some monster. And Jonathan maybe kind of hears that something happened, but he also runs out of film.
He has to his yeah. It jams or something. It says the subtitle said Shutter jams.
Oh, this okay.
So he's trying to rewind the film to maybe get it back to where it was, or maybe he's just done with that role anyway. But yeah, he when by the time he looked back up, just a
Lights
few
are back
seconds
on
later,
and
she's
nobody's
gone.
there.
Yeah, and he doesn't
Yeah,
seem to be worried about it because obviously he had his head down, so
right.
it's believable that she would have just gotten away from his view pretty quickly. But that's the last time we saw Barb on the diving board.
Roll credits.
Man,
Another show this reminds me of that I was actually genuinely scared of as a kid. It was just called Unsolved Mysteries.
oh, we've talked about this.
I mean, the host was creepy as creepy, and it had some similar, just even though they were all reenactments, the feel of that unsolved mysteries was just so spooky and scary
Yeah.
the whole dang time. So
Yeah, whenever you got a missing kid, and now we don't know what happened to Barb. And we
so
also
that
now we have a new theory. We have a new question mark of what did the blood have to do with it?
mhm,
Barb was sitting there on the diving board for who knows how long before her finger bled into the pool, and it wasn't until that happened. Could be
yep,
coincident, no, but
yeah.
we have a new question mark to add to all of our other question marks about everything.
But
Like,
we keep being reinforced that electricity or lights has something to do with
yeah,
people seemingly
it's an
disappearing
indicator.
or the presence of beasts or monsters or otherworldliness. Somehow lights coming on and off is a sign that something there's more than meets the eye.
And that it can happen without really disrupting anybody else. Jonathan didn't
Sure.
know about it. Steve and Nancy didn't know about it. Tommy H and Carol didn't know about it.
Yeah.
When Will was missing, nobody. It happens so quickly and clandestinely that it can happen right around somebody and not really know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so many theories and question marks at this point. We just don't know. But I tell you what, we do know is that we're moving right on to episode 3.
I
Just like
mean, it's not that late here. I'll probably stay up and watch a few
if you
episodes.
watched it. I need to give it a couple more watches before we dive into it. But that's what we do here at the Hawkins Observer. We observe our thoughts, our memories, our observations, our reactions to help you, the listener, along the way towards as we head headlong towards season 5. But I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't either. Man, it'll. I think we'll be talking about this final season, long after it's
I hope they are. I hope.
passed.
I hope they. I don't. I have a lot of faith in them.
I
To
do
wrap
too.
it up well,
Yep, I do too.
but
Well, that's season 1, episode 2. We'll move on. Come with us.
yep. We'll see you next episode.